eSIM Studios mobile app is an experience unlike any other tech app, with an easy-to-use interface view, late-breaking tech news from all over the industry, and so much more. The samstudios.app also includes the unlocker. Learn to unlock phones from the professionals for free. The clean and intuitive layout, finding breaking news articles and deals in tech has never been easier. Watch and listen to the eSIM Studios YouTube channel and podcast from within the app. Additional features include easy Gcam download, the Android Flash tool, and sign up for our weekly giveaway drawing. Download the eSIM Studios mobile app at simstudios.app and find us on YouTube by simply searching eSIM Studios.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios podcast, live stream, episode 117. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. I won't take too much of your time today. Got a couple of stories here that will be of your interest, especially if you're potentially wanting to get a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and or Z Flip 6, the upcoming foldable event from Samsung. Coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Got some news in regards to that. Also have a new Google Pixel Watch that's been spotted, and a couple other interesting articles that involves the new Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite. It's been getting rave reviews, and I'm actually in the market to grab one, but that it may be short-lived. We just don't know yet. But looks like there's an upcoming legal battle that they're going to have to jump over. So if you wanted a Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite laptop and or developer kit, their mini PC version, you might want to grab one pretty soon because it looks like they might be taken off the shelves. So, long story short, if you're a viewer of the channel, subscriber of the channel, I've battled with Cricket back and forth to get a trial version of Cricket. Now, I don't want Cricket, I want AT&T. I want to test AT&T service here at our home office because we're in a dead spot for T-Mobile and Verizon. Got it working on a OnePlus 12R. Beautiful device. And it's a little bit better. Let me show you with it compared to T-Mobile. So here's T-Mobile. Green, almost yellow. Here's Cricket. Yellow, almost green. So the dead spot lives on. I don't think AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. I think we're just screwed with where I'm located at. Anyways, for those of y'all that are interested, I spent way too much time just trying to get a trial version of Cricket and or AT&T trial version of their service, but it is what it is, right? So let me mention eSIM Studios podcast. You can get it on any podcast platform: Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio app, anywhere you get your podcasts, even the popular application Pocket Casts. You can get it there as well. We are number 13 on the top 70 tech podcasts, brought to you by FeedSpot. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It was just going over the analytics, and they continue to go up. So I'm not going to stop this podcast. We're going to continue to run a not only a visual podcast here on YouTube live stream, but also going to submit every single podcast for an audio version podcast. So it's very popular over in Southeast Asia. I have no idea why. In the Philippines, Thailand, it's trending up in there as well. So I want to thank everybody listening all across the world. It's very flattering. So thank you very much. And also go to, I made a new commercial for our channel. I do everything myself. I don't hire anybody to do edits. I don't hire anybody to do anything. I do everything myself. So I made a new commercial. It looks really nice. And I got the Flossie Carter AI voice in there. For those of y'all, I used his voice before. Flossie Carter, he's not, look, there's other tech YouTubers that have more subscribers, but he's my favorite. Has been my favorite ever since I discovered him on YouTube years ago. But those of y'all who want to run over to him and DM him and tell him that I'm stealing his content, I'm actually not friends with Flossie Carter because I don't know him like that, but I've communicated with him numerous times behind the scenes, and he loves it. And as long as I give credit to him and credit to his Instagram and YouTube channel, he said, hey, you can use my AI voice as much as you want, as long as it's in good taste, right? I'm not going to disparage his name or try to use it fraudulently. So I had it last time I used his voice in an AI commercial. I had people go behind my back or behind our back and tell him, hey, somebody's stealing your voice, blah blah, this and that. He DM'd me the screenshots of people trying to snitch on me, but I beat everybody to the punch and actually got his permission way before I even ever used it. I asked him, hey, is it cool if I use your voice? And he's all for it. So shout out to Flossie Carter. I'm gonna put his YouTube channel in the video description down below. And everybody, please, I'm sure everybody's aware of his channel. He's got millions of subscribers, but we're just a smaller YouTube channel trying to make it out here. But Flossie's all for it, and he's a really, really cool guy. So yeah. Now, go download eSIM Studios app, eSIMstudios.app. You can download the app there. I'm in the process of submitting it to the Google Play Store. God, what a hassle that is. In the Apple App Store. It is a hassle, but it is in the process of getting approved. So soon you will see the eSIM Studios app on your app stores, but you can download the app right now. It is a web app, which means go to eSIMstudios.app, and then after 30 seconds of being on there, it'll ask you, hey, do you want to install this on your home screen? Simply hit yes, and it'll install on your computer home screen, whether you're on Windows or Mac. It'll install on your phone home screen, whether you're iPhone or Android, iPad, Galaxy tablet, whatever operating system you have, it'll install it on your home screen, just like an application. Cool thing is about this is the web app that installs as an application on your phone, you don't have to update it. You don't have to go into your app store and update it. I update it behind the scenes. And it's actually more secure, believe it or not. It's built on Web 3.0. Again, I didn't hire anybody. I did it all on my own. It's actually more secure than applications on the App Store, just because it is built on Web 3.0, and apps that are in your App Store are not built on Web 3.0. So it's actually more secure and more safe if you actually go to eSIMstudios.app and download the app. Again, it'll ask you. There's no install. Now, if you're on Windows, you can install it. It'll ask you. So go there, and that's where we're going to pull our news from. So I not only run a Chiefs Studios YouTube channel where I interview players, also give you NFL and Chiefs news, and I also have a Chiefs web app, chiefsstudios.tech. It's a web app, that same thing that I have for eSIM Studios, we do for Chiefs Studios for the NFL and for the Chiefs. But I also write my own publications. I write my own media. I write my own articles. So that's where we're going to pull our news from today. Hey, what's going on? Is the Z Flip big change from the Z5? Yes and no. So let's go and get into it, right? And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me pull this up on the screen. Here we go, eSIMstudios.app. So let's jump into, since you want to know about the Z Flip. So the Z Flip, let me go ahead and select the article. So the Z Flip 6, so it's going to look relatively the same. It has about 95% the same design language as the Z Flip 5. So what does that mean? That means it's basically going to look the same. However, it's going to have more it's going to have more flat sides. The Z Flip 5 was relatively flat around the device, right? So when you look at this device, it was more, the Z Flip 6 will look just like the S24 Plus, where it's basically completely flat on the sides. The Z Flip 5 was mostly flat on the sides. This new Flip 6 is going to be 100% flat all around the sides. Sort of how iPhone is, sort of how the S24 Plus is, right? Now, so just looking at it, it won't be much of a change. However, behind the scenes, underneath the glass in plastic that you see here, it will be. They're overhauling their camera system. So you're going to get the same 50 megapixel camera setup that you get, the same camera setup that you have on the S24 Plus. I point to y'all because I'm recording on an S24 Plus. The same 50 megapixel sensors and 12 megapixel sensors that come on the S24 Plus are going to be on this Z Flip 6. And that is huge because in the past, the Z Flip 5 and previous year models, they were using an old 12 megapixel sensor that was about 4 or 5 years old. Now they're up, and that was one of the only negatives about the Flip series that I did not like was their camera setup, right? Didn't take that good of photos. The photo quality improved over the years just because Samsung's computational photography got better. That means after you take a picture, when it processes for a split second, their servers, their computational, their computing got better at processing that image. Now they're going to beef up the actual sensor, so it will take much better photos, which is always a plus, right? It's going to have better UFS storage. It's going to have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It's going to have just a teeny tiny, a little bit bigger battery. The outside display is going to get a little higher resolution. It's going to stay the same design, but you're going to see subtle refinements that's going to make it badass. Because when I used the Z Flip 5, I was like, I loved the phone, minus one or two major aspects that was kind of bugging me. One was the photo quality. Now, the Z Flip 5 was $1,000, right? And that was the 8 gigabyte of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. I believe they did a base of 256. So it was 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. This year, not only are they going to upgrade the cameras, not only are they going to get a tiny little bit bigger battery and better resolution on the outer display, but you're going to get better UFS storage. They're cranking that. They're stepping that up. You're also going to get a base 12 gigabytes of RAM. That's going to make all the difference in the world. Those of y'all that don't look, it makes a difference, right? Especially now with the apps getting as big as they are. Especially if you're not one that cleans your app drawer out. I mean, your recent apps out. It's huge. This is going to be huge in the usability of this device. So more RAM, more storage, a little bit bigger battery, better resolution on the outer display, and all new camera system, right? Now here's the downside to the Z Flip 6. Womp. It's going to cost more. We got news today that the Z Flip 6 was going to cost more. So I don't know if this has to do with inflation. I don't know if this has to do with putting premium parts in the device, meaning, look, they're putting new camera sensors in there, which cost Samsung more money to manufacture this device. So if they don't want that to cut into their profits over the previous year, they're going to have to increase the price a little bit to offset the profit that they make per device, correct? And totaling their overall revenue for the Z Flip 6 series. So we do get a price increase, which sucks, but let's see how much they're going to cost. So the price of the Z Flip 6 has leaked. The 256 gig model, the base variant with 12 gigs of RAM, is going to be $1,099, which was an increase of roughly $100 over the previous year, which was started off at a base price of $999, roughly $1,000 this on the Z Flip 5, and then $1,100 for the Z Flip 6. So regardless of how this price increase came from, it's probably a mixture of both. Probably has to do with inflation. Probably has to do with them putting more premium parts in there, which again, manufacturing cost rises. Well, they're going to have to increase the cost for the consumer as well to get that little profit, to maximize the profit per device, correct? Now, the 512 gig variant is going to be a whopping $1,200. Roughly 119. Well, officially we have it listed here, $1,219, which is $119 over, or $120 over the 256 gig variant, right? It is what it is. So they're planning their Unpacked event in July to unveil the Flip 6 and the Fold 6, right? According to a new report, with OnLeaks, who is probably the most popular leaker of technology products, mainly Android devices, they got a new leak saying the two storage variant configurations, 256 and 512, are going to cost $1,099 and $1,219 respectively. Increase of roughly $100 over the previous models. This is going to weigh 187 grams and have a 6. I don't know if it's going to have a 6.7 inch display. I think it's going to have a 6.8 or 6.9 because it's so tall and skinny. Let me see what last year's. Hang on. Let me see what last year's. I might have gotten that information wrong. Z Flip 5 GSM Arena. Let's compare the specs. So this is last year's. You see how it's a little, it looks mainly flat, but it's a little rounded on the sides. This year it's going to be completely flat. Okay, see, it is 6.7. So I was mistaken. So no, I got it right. Okay. We got colors as well. We have colors that leaked. These are official as well. The colors are going to be mint, which is I believe it's a carryover. It should look something like this. You're also going to have a silver shadow, which it will be a silver, yellow, a blue, a craft black, which is going to be an online exclusive, a peach color, another Samsung online exclusive, and a white color, which is another Samsung online exclusive, meaning you can only get those colors from Samsung.com. You cannot get them from AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon. That means this new Flip 6 is not going to be available in the Flip 5 colors, which was cream, graphite, gray, green, and lavender. Never liked those colors in the first place, right? So I think this year you have a little bit of choice to pick from when it comes to the colors, but you will see a price increase. Now, let's go to the Z Fold 6, right? Because we also got a price increase on there, unfortunately. So this one's a real kicker, right? This one's expensive as hell. This one's going to be super expensive. Where did I put the price down here? Damn it, I got the wrong shit on here. I'm gonna have to go back and edit this. Hang on. Let me see if I can find the price and we'll put it up here, and then I'll go back and correct it once we're done. Oh, here we go. I know where to get it from. So the price of the Z Fold 6. Wow. Y'all see that? Are y'all witnessing this? Z Fold 6. The base model. Base model is going to be $18.99. Last year it was $17.99. So last year it was $1,800 just to get the cheapest Fold 6 possible, right? 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. Last year it was basically $1,800. This year it's gonna be $1,900 for the base model. Now, the most expensive version of this Z Fold 6 for the 1 terabyte model is going to be $2,259. $2,259 rough, and that's without taxes. So roughly $2,260. Now with taxes, depending on where you're at, but this is real world scenario, right? Let me give you an idea of what we're looking at. So $1,900. So if you're here in Texas like I am, and let's say you buy a Z Fold 6, now $1,900 times our tax rate here in Texas is 8.25%. So just for the base model alone, you're going to be paying over $2,000. So for the 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gig variant, with taxes, you're going to be paying $2,056. For the loaded model, oh my goodness, you're going to be paying just shy of $2,500. $2,500 for the Z Fold 6 for the 1 terabyte model. $2,500. Yikes. And that's not including cases as well, or any accessories you buy for that, right? Ooh-wee. That's expensive, guys. That's very, very expensive. Wow. So did we get colors for that too? I don't think we did. No, I don't. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So the colors have also been mentioned with the launch option, said to be navy, silver, shadow, and pink. So you're going to get 3 choices. Navy, which is a dark blue, kind of like this shirt I got on. Silver shadow, which is a weird name. And then pink. Wait, why are they doing pink? I know they're doing it for the women, but did that many women use a Z Fold 6? I'm assuming so. Look, Samsung's done their homework, and they know probably better than anybody. I didn't know it was that popular amongst women, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been mistaken before, so interesting. Now their foldable event, unpacked event, Samsung's unpacked event is going to be on July 10th, which is here in just a few weeks. Now they're pushing up the launch date of the Z Flip 6 and Z Fold 6 this year compared to last year's because they're trying to launch this device before the Summer Olympics start in Paris. Samsung is the major sponsor for all the Summer Olympic Games, and they want to get these devices out before the Olympics start because they have an ad campaign that's going to basically gift each and every Olympic athlete a Z Fold 6 or a Z Flip 6 amongst other Samsung products. But just watch during the Olympics, you'll see a ton of Samsung advertisements, banners all over the place. So Samsung's going to basically be a main sponsor for the Olympics, and they wanted to get this device out and before the Olympics started, and get these devices in the Olympic athletes' hands, right? So be on the lookout for that. All right. Now, Samsung Galaxy, speaking of accessories and adding on prices, right? Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 leaked. Now, if you're a Samsung Galaxy wearable user like I am, I use Galaxy Buds with any device I'm using. I use Galaxy Buds even when I'm using my computer. I have them paired. Even when I'm using a phone, I have them paired. Any kind of phone, OnePlus, nothing, Samsung, or my tablet back here, I always have Galaxy Buds connected. Check it out. They're the best in the business, in my opinion, for the price. I'm not talking just flat out quality, sound quality. I'm not, out here judging, listening to opera music. But for the price, battery life, you just can't beat them. Battery life's phenomenal. Performance is phenomenal. And they have a relative cheap price compared to some of the Sony earbuds that are like, and JBLs that are like $249, $289. These are generally you can find these for $70, and it's a steal in my opinion. They last like 12 hours long. So anyways, check this out. Let me share the screen. Hang on, because we got Buds 3 news that just leaked. Samsung Galaxy Buds 3. Major redesign. So, if you're an OG Galaxy Buds user, the current design that they have of the FE models, Galaxy Buds FE, where it has the wingtip, the Galaxy Buds and Galaxy Buds Plus, going back a couple years ago, that was my favorite design. When they moved to the Galaxy Buds and then Galaxy Buds Pro and then Galaxy Buds Pro 2, I did not like that design because it did not have that wingtip, and it would always fall out of my ear. So when I saw the Buds FE were going to have the wingtip, I said, the silicone wingtip, I got to get that. So that's what I have now. I have the white Galaxy Buds FE. Now, we did get word that Samsung's going to overhaul the redesign of these Buds 3. So a screenshot from the Galaxy Wearable app revealed Samsung's upcoming wearable launches. An image lists all of Samsung's upcoming wearables, including Galaxy Watch 7, Watch FE, and Galaxy Ring. Noticeably, unlike their predecessors in previous years, both the Buds 3 and Buds 3 Pro are shown with a stem design. Lord have mercy. Buds 3 right here. Buds 3 Pro right here with a stem, which would be a major redesign. Now, if you're wondering, well, if you have the little buds in your ear right now, what does it show in the Galaxy Wearable app? Do they have a stem? The current ones, do they have a stem, or are they as buds? Well, let's find out. Got my Galaxy here. Let me open up my Wearable app. And these are what the current buds look like in the Galaxy Wearable app. Again, the new buds that are unreleased yet have a stem, right? Now look at these. This isn't my phone. See on the left, it shows a bud. Buds 2 Pro, Buds FE, Buds FE. Right? So, very interesting if they switch designs. Don't know if I would be a fan of that. I do have some AirPods over here, and they just don't fit that good in my ear. Now, here's a little... Maybe they're just switching the icon in the Galaxy Wearable app, because if you have a Galaxy Buds and you've ever paired your buds to your Windows PC, I believe it shows a stem in Windows settings. Let's go check. Yes, they do. Let me show you here if I can share this screen. So look at this. So here are the settings for the computers for the computer I am streaming on. Look at this. Galaxy Buds 2 Pro up here show a stem. They don't have a stem. And then the Galaxy Buds FE shows a headset. So I wouldn't necessarily bet on the Buds 3 having a stem, because I don't think I would like that, because the stems don't really work out for me. Let me show you why. Let me grab the AirPods with stems. Hang on. Okay. So here's some AirPods, right? The stem kind. I don't know if these are the pros or I don't know. I don't know what these are. All I know is the AirPods with a stem. Now, when I put them in, here's what it looks like. They don't want to. They sit in my ear better when the stem is not down, but when the stem is horizontal, just the way my ears are. Everybody's ears are different, right? Nobody has the same ears. But watch, they actually fit in my ear better if like that, which look really dorky. Look really, really, really stupid. I don't know why. That's just the way my ear is. And if I try to move them down, they will fall out. If I have them like this, I can go throughout the day and they will not fall out. But if I have them if I wear them like they're supposed to be designed to wear, like this, aiming downward, whoop, they'll fall out. Just doing a light workout or walking around, they will fall out. So I hope these Buds 3 are not stems. And I hope they have a different design if they are stems, because I sure don't want to be walking around looking like this, because I had to wear them like this one time and some douchebag walked by me, hey man, your AirPods are gonna fall out. It's not incorrectly. I was like, yeah, idiot. I know it's not incorrectly. So it is what it is. But just to show you some proof, they show my current Galaxy Buds, which do not have stems, show up with stems in the pictures of the Windows settings. So who knows? Time will tell. I don't know when they're going to release these. Let me see if I wrote it down in the article. Let's go back, and you can get all this information at eSimStudios.app. eSimStudios.app. It does not say when they're going to release these, do they? It could be at the Unpacked event. We do know that we just mentioned for these Flip 6 and Fold 6 here on July 10th. Because Samsung's been known, they don't have a specific set date every single year. At a specific date, they don't release their wearables. They sort of pair them with a launch, whatever launch they're closest to, right? So sometimes they'll launch tablets alongside the phones, their Galaxy phones. Sometimes they will launch earbuds the same day and or with tablets, right? Or their watches as well. The Galaxy Watch FE that you see down here, actually in the Galaxy Watch 7, just went through FCC. So I'm assuming it's going to be relatively soon. And I think a good guess would be they're probably going to be released with the Fold 6 and Flip 6 at the Samsung Galaxy Unpacked event on July 10th. I believe. Nothing set in stone yet, but I believe that's when they're going to launch these. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this for everybody if this is of interest to you. It's of interest to me. I use my Galaxy Buds every single day. So I will let y'all know. Just go to eSimStudios.app and I will have every little piece of info we get leading up to the launch and even after launch, because I'm going to buy some and test them. We will let you know all the news that pops up with these Galaxy Buds, because I know they are very popular and I am a user of them. All right, now let me pull up this other news article that I have that's very interesting. Let's see here. Snapdragon FE, that's a great question. FE stands for Fan Edition. Fan Edition. So what Samsung does is they'll basically take the very best. It stands for, obviously Fan Edition, but they apply that to their flagship devices. So you'll have a Samsung Galaxy S24, that's their flagship phone line, but they'll have an S24 FE, Galaxy Watch, 7 FE, Galaxy Buds FE. So it's the fan edition of a flagship device. So what they do is they take basically a carbon copy. It has the same similar looks as their flagship brother or sister device. And they'll take everything people love about those devices, but then what they'll do is they'll subtract a couple of features from that specific flagship device to drop the price, right? So these Galaxy Buds FE are spurred from the OG or the traditional Galaxy Buds, except minus I don't know. I haven't really, actually, I could make a video about it, but it's missing some of their, maybe it's missing 360 audio, and it's missing, and they did not put something else on there. And they do that on purpose to reduce the cost. So it helps more people enjoy, flagship products from Samsung just at a cheaper price, basically. Now, quick tip: stay away. My personal opinion. All the other, and they also have the Galaxy Tab FE, the tablet FE. But I've used all the FE devices they've come out with. All of them are phenomenal, except the phone. Stay away from the S24 FE. Stay away from the S23 FE. I've had a couple of FE phones, and I did not like them at all. I could tell just from every day-to-day operations, every day-to-day usage, it was sluggish. That was my experience with a couple of devices, not just one, right? Where it may be just a fluke one-time deal. Maybe I had a lemon phone where it's just a random bad phone, like a bad batch from their production line. But I've used multiple FE phones, and I did not like it. So here's what I recommend. Their Buds FE are good. I do definitely recommend the Buds FE. I definitely recommend the Tablet FE. Well, I don't know about Tablet FE. For whatever reason, when it comes to an operating system on it, it seems to be a little sluggish. Now, the phones I was major disappointed in. Tablets, my parents have a Tab FE, and it's not that bad. I think they have an S8 FE, so it's decent, but it comes with less RAM. When in a day in a world where operating systems get bigger, more robust, these apps and the data that these apps carry get bigger and bigger and bigger, you would need that extra RAM. So if you can find an FE model from Samsung that does not have an operating system, because what they do is they reduce the RAM, among other things, to reduce the cost, but you need more RAM, especially when it comes to Samsung. So a wearable FE, meaning the Watch FE, I'm sure is going to be an excellent buy, and the Buds FE are an excellent buy. Tablet, if you want to get a Tablet FE Fan Edition tablet, not that bad of an experience, but I definitely will not get the Tablet FE if you want to, right? But my personal opinion, stay away from the phone FE. I did not have good experience on those. I would rather you get, instead of them, Samsung comes out with an S23 FE, right? Or excuse me, S24 FE, right? I would rather you go get a previous flagship model instead of the newest FE, which should, right now, buying a used S23 Plus should be cost around the same as getting a new S24 FE, simply because it's going to perform better. So the FEs, like I said, these ones I've used, very glitchy, sluggish experience. I would recommend you skipping the FE and just getting the previous model's flagship device, because you can find one used for about the same price as a brand new FE model. So thank you for that question. Let's move into this. Check this out. ARM, Qualcomm, they are in a legal battle now. As we've covered on this podcast, and I'm currently in the market for one. I'm waiting for Acer to put out their Snapdragon X Elite. I think I'm going to buy a Acer laptop with the Snapdragon X Elite CPU. So this is a big deal. Apple, as we all know, basically have the flagship CPU when it comes to computing, right? They have the Mac. I think we're on M4 now, although no MacBooks have an M4 chip in it. They just released an iPad with the M4 chip, but the upcoming MacBooks are going to include the Apple M4 chip. The M4 chip is a phenomenal CPU, very, very powerful. The most powerful CPU that we have to date in production hardware. And the Windows laptops, and not only do they get phenomenal performance, they also get really, really good battery life. So before last month, when these new Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite CPUs were released, us Windows users were stuck with your choice of either an AMD CPU or an Intel CPU. Now, I've stopped buying Intel CPU products just because they're overhyped, and the last few I've had overheated really bad. So a few years ago, I switched to nothing but AMD. I always buy AMD, whatever, laptops, computers, their CPUs, right? Now, Qualcomm has predominantly made CPUs for phones, for mobile devices. They attempted to make a computer CPU a couple years ago with the 8CX, and it got launched with so-so fanfare, right? The reviews weren't that great, but this year is different. This year, Qualcomm came out with their new Snapdragon X Elite series, which is on par with Apple's CPU. It blew away the competition from AMD, from Intel, and Qualcomm beat them to the punch. Now, it's right up there with Apple's M3 and M4 chip as far as performance and battery life. I've watched some reviews where people get 2 days battery life out of this thing, 19 hours of battery life, 20 hours of battery life, which is mind-blowing. Because my laptop I have over here, an HP ProBook that has an AMD 7 series, 5th gen 7 series CPU. It's about a year and a half old. I already got to change the battery on it. The battery life only lasts a few hours, 2-3 hours. And that's it on a year and a half old laptop. All right, I'm pissed off. I'm actually going to change the battery and give it to my daughter because I'm going to get a Snapdragon X Elite CPU laptop. Now, ARM, who holds the rights to the ARM chips, which is a more mobile device friendly CPU. Qualcomm took that ARM CPU architecture and built their Snapdragon X Elite around that ARM foundation, right? It comes to how you build the CPU, not just it's not just how you design it, R&D, meaning the performance, the statistics, how many volts it's getting, all that stuff. This refers to the physical build, the physical look, the physical hardware of the CPU is where ARM steps in. Now, ARM is saying, wait a second, y'all can't be selling these Snapdragon X Elite products. ARM is trying to eliminate Qualcomm from the Windows market. This is a Qualcomm, when they put out this new X Elite CPU a couple weeks ago, it blew everybody's mind. It came out of left field, and they just put on blast everybody that produces Windows CPUs, right? NVIDIA, MediaTek, AMD, Intel, just blew everybody out of the water. This is like a earth-shattering watershed moment for Windows CPUs. Is this Snapdragon X Elite? Everybody's raving about it. It's just a phenomenal CPU, right? It's ungodly powerful, and the battery life lasts long, which it should. right? We're in 2024. Our batteries in our laptops should not be dying after 2 to 3 hours of use. I'm sorry, it just should not. So here's the deal. Now we have a legal issue. ARM, who owns the ARM patent on these ARM-based CPUs. So ARM is trying to eliminate Qualcomm from selling their CPUs inside of a Windows laptop. ARM basically wants to nudge Qualcomm out of the way and put their foot in the door, is what's really going on. Rumors suggest that NVIDIA, MediaTek, and AMD may enter the Windows ecosystem soon with their own ARM chips. ARM claims that Qualcomm doesn't have a license for custom ARM CPUs, creating a legal battle between the two companies. So what does ARM want? So Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite series are launching in a week, meaning they've launched them and you can look at all the promo stuff, all the stuff on the websites, but actually walk in a store and buy one is still about a week away, right? It's kind of like a phone when they launch Samsung, when they launch the Samsung Galaxy S24 or whatever S series device, flagship device, they'll launch it and announce it, right? But it still takes a few weeks before you can actually go into a store and physically buy one. ARM is trying to get these off the shelves before next week, before you can even walk into a store and buy one. There's so if you're unaware, Apple uses ARM chips in Macs and MacBooks, right? They're basically the flagship standard when it comes to desktop and or laptop CPUs. Well, mainly laptop, because you can get some big hefty ones when it comes to these big gaming PCs, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about mobility. We're talking about MacBooks, laptops. Apple's M4 chip, Apple's M series CPUs are actually ARM based. Now, depending on your perspective, ARM Holdings, who owns the ARM architecture, and Qualcomm have been locked in legal battles for years now. For years, ever since I can remember. So probably 10 years, just a battle back and forth because they want to gain market share. ARM wants to take Qualcomm out of the foreseeable future, so ARM can manufacture its own chips to put in place of the Qualcomm chips, right? Because if they can get legal authority, if they can get the legal system ARM on their side, and they can stop the sales of the Qualcomm-based laptops, ARM can swoop in and say, oh, well, here's our set of CPUs that we're going to now start putting in these Lenovo, Dell, HP laptops, right? ARM's lawsuit against Qualcomm and Nubia. Nubia comes in because Qualcomm purchased Nubia, a smaller architecture company that used to make custom chips, ARM CPUs, very powerful ones. That was a smaller company. It was more of a mom and pop, not shop, right, but a business where it wasn't as, I shouldn't say that, it was bigger than mom and pop, but it was a small company. However, they held the key. They had this secret sauce. Once Qualcomm purchased Nubia about a year ago, they took Nubia's technology, plugged them in to the ARM architecture, ARM design, and that's what now we get with the Snapdragon X Elite CPUs. Now, it says ARM's lawsuit against Qualcomm and Nubia seeks to protect the ARM ecosystem and its partners that rely on ARM's intellectual property and innovative designs, therefore enforcing Qualcomm's contractual obligations to protect Nubia's designs, which are based on ARM technologies and are not being used for longer. An ARM spokesman said in a statement to Reuters. So ARM wants to disrupt everything with Snapdragon and its X Elite series CPUs. So Qualcomm laid the foundation for Windows on ARM platforms, right? A platform that was announced at the end of 2016 and has since expanded its ecosystem. many of the applications that we use on our Windows laptops, like Chrome and Slack, and other many native apps, would not even exist without Snapdragon and or ARM CPUs, because some of these applications are built around what types of CPUs that will be powering it, right? You can't use an Android app on an iPhone with an Apple Bionic chip in there, right? You have to code it, you have to change the kernels. There's a bunch of coding that has to be changed up, right? ARM is demanding that Qualcomm be taken out of the market so that they can go into the market with their own Cortex designs. Cortex is a certain type of ARM architecture, is a certain type of ARM CPU. The Cortex, like when you look at these Android phones with the Snapdragon 8S, with the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, you'll see in the specs it'll say with a Cortex A72, and it'll have a 8-core CPU. Those cores are going to be Cortex, so it's A72, A52, stuff like that, right? I don't know, we're kind of getting nerdy, but hang on, this is very important, and it could affect your next PC. So perhaps a company like MediaTek will use ARM's own Cortex cores. Of course, it makes more money for ARM. So ARM wants to butt, again, Qualcomm out of the industry when it comes to PCs. So MediaTek and other companies can license and make and produce their own CPUs and put them in laptops. See, there's billions and billions of dollars behind each one of these decisions. Billions and billions of dollars. Plus, jobs are on the line. I'm sure the CEO of Qualcomm, the CEO of ARM, all these people and their jobs and billions of dollars are on the line. It comes down to licensing. If Qualcomm has the rights to continue to manufacture and power these laptops. Essentially, ARM is saying that Qualcomm does not have a license to manufacture ARM chips. And Qualcomm is saying that it does. See the problem? It's like he said, she said, but with nerds involved. There are two types of ARM licenses, right? So when ARM, the maker of the owner of this patent, the owner of ARM, meaning the owner of a certain design of a CPU, has two types of licenses that they will give to you. If I, eSIM Studios, want to start manufacturing CPUs, if I want to use an ARM-based chip, which is very powerful and great battery life, sounds like a no-brainer, doesn't it? I would go to ARM and say, hey, I need one of your licenses. I'm going to start producing and manufacturing my own eSIM Studios branded CPU. Well, I would need a license, right? So one of the licenses is for using the Cortex cores, which ARM develops as essentially off-the-shelf parts, which is known for being in all the Android flagship, not even flagship, but basically all Snapdragon phones have Cortex-based CPUs. I mean, again, 8-core, 9-core, octa-core, deca-core. All those cores, those individual cores, are Cortex cores, A72, A52, which is essentially you buy it already manufactured, and then you kind of spec it out behind the scenes with software and voltage and stuff like that. The other type of licenses is that they will let me build anything I want, as long as when it comes to ARM based, they'll let me build anything I want as long as it complies with the ARM instruction set. Meaning, you can so the two licenses, you can either buy it from us, manufacture it, or put together, right, and we'll give it to you, or you can build it yourself, but you have to follow these instructions. Those are the two types of licenses, right? So both Apple and Qualcomm have adopted the latter. So they're not purchasing them already pre-built, like a pre-roll, right? It's like you either buy it pre-rolled or you can roll it yourself. So Apple and Qualcomm have already adopted the way they manufacture it is they build it themselves. They just have to go by a specific instruction sheet with how they build it. ARM has always been open about its preference for companies that use Cortex cores. So ARM prefers you buy it pre-built, but they don't have to. So custom chips mean that companies like Qualcomm can make better ARM chips than ARM can, right? So they pour more money into it and they spend more time in research and development. Apple's basically done that. Apple's made the very best, and y'all know how much I love to troll Apple, but I will give them props when props are due, and this is certainly at one point, right? Apple's done that. Apple has made a better ARM-based CPU than ARM can make their own CPU. Just a fact. And the old Apple excuse is that it was always important to optimize the entire stack from hardware to software no longer applies. So it's gotten to the point where Apple has really fine-tuned it because they're only optimizing that CPU to one operating system, right? When you have a CPU for another operating system like Android, you have all these manufacturers making different types or different forks of that operating system, right? So you got One UI from Samsung, you got not Pixel anymore, but you used to have the Nexus ASOP. You got OnePlus with their Oxygen OS. You have Nothing with their Nothing OS, right? All those have to be fine-tuned just to the CPU, right? Let's move over to Windows. You have a HP laptop, right? It has their own little HP Windows version. Acer has their own little Windows version. So all those little things put together, that's why Apple has really, really, really fine-tuned that that M series CPU for their MacBook. Same thing with their Bionic chip with the iPhone. That's why it's so powerful every single year, is that they just got to fine-tune it just for one operating system. Let's see. What else we got? So Qualcomm acquired a company, speaking of Nuvia, for this purpose, right? Nuvia found a way to fine-tune. There's something they did, and obviously they're not telling anybody because why would they give away their secret sauce? So Qualcomm purchased a company called Nuvia. I want to say about 18 months ago. I remember that press release because it's an interesting name, Nuvia. I remember that name. Initially used Nuvia's architecture license. So remember, you have to get a license from ARM to build these chips or build around them, right? So Nuvia had a license from ARM. So Qualcomm acquired Nuvia, and Qualcomm used Nuvia's licensing. Now, that may be one reason why they purchased Nuvia, is so they can use its license for building out these ARM chips. ARM is arguing that Nuvia's license ended when Qualcomm purchased them, right? So ARM's saying, no, that license ended when Qualcomm bought y'all out. I'm sure it's in the fine print. You know, these billion-dollar deals probably have hundreds of pages of terms of services and all sorts of crap, right? If this holds up in court, if ARM's claims holds up in court, they would have to negotiate a new agreement to use the ARM architecture, right? ARM is asking Qualcomm to stop shipping all products that use the ARM-based technology. So that includes the Snapdragon X Elite CPUs. ARM is asking a judge to physically stop Qualcomm from shipping and selling these laptops with these ARM Snapdragon X Elite CPUs in them. Now, as I wrote in here, to be honest, these things usually are not that cut and dry. There's no way the products will be delayed from hitting stores. In fact, they're probably most of the retail outlets, not only physical outlets, retail stores, but because you can go into the Microsoft has physical stores, they're selling them in the Microsoft Surface laptops. I guarantee you they already have them in stock. They're just waiting to put them on the shelf for sale. Lawsuits like this usually end with one company giving in to the other, and a lot of money is exchanged. So Snapdragon Acer also plans to release a product in mid-July. That's the one I am waiting on. But depending on all the other Snapdragon X Elite computers, you can buy them right now, and they'll ship them, I think, next week. The Acer one I wanted is not going to be available until mid-July. So depending on the outcome of this, I may or may not be able to get it. But like I said, usually they'll just negotiate. It's rare, although it does happen. Y'all remember Apple stopped selling the, what was it, the watch? I believe it was the Apple Watch here in the United States over some patent agreement that ran out. Do y'all remember that? I should have the details, but I just remember that right now. So sometimes it'll end in a company not being able to sell its products, i.e., for example, Apple being one with the watch. There was a patent dispute in the Apple Watch, and Apple was not allowed to sell that watch in the United States for, I think it was like a few months. And I don't know the outcome. Maybe that's up, but probably the outcome of this was that Qualcomm is probably going to have to renegotiate a deal with ARM, because if they just blow it off, if Qualcomm says, kick rocks, go away, ARM will escalate this to higher courts, right? And technically, their license will run out, or if it hasn't already run out, eventually, yes, the government could force Qualcomm and all Snapdragon X Elite laptops, a ban on them, right? Not to be sold here. And each country can have their own ruling. So they could not be sold in America at some point, but still be sold in Europe or in Southeast Asia and Thailand, right? Or in Japan. So each country has to have their own ruling on this. But usually I think the outcome is that because at some point Qualcomm is going to have to renegotiate their terms anyways, because these contracts, these licensing agreements aren't lifetime deals. They're 5, 7, 10-year deals, and then when those are up, time to renegotiate and start a whole new deal. So I think they'll just renegotiate a deal, and I think you should be able to purchase these in stores, but never say never. We don't know where this is going to go, but that's usually how things end. Now, I'm definitely going to pay attention to this story and present it to you if I see anything change. Again, it affects me directly because I'm looking to buy one of these. So, and you will too. If you're in the market for a new PC, you're going to want a PC with the Snapdragon X Elite CPU in it. It's an absolute no-brainer. It's a watershed moment. It's a breakthrough moment in the nerd world, in the CPU world. That Qualcomm is able to get this much performance out of the CPUs, as well as battery life. Remember, we're talking about up to 2 days of battery life without one single charge. With a single charge, you should get to almost 2 days usage out of it, which is unheard of because, again, my laptop dies in just a couple hours. So I'll keep everybody up to date with this, and I'm going to get out of here. But thank you for joining me. This is the eSIM Studios live stream podcast, episode number 117. Hit me up on all these social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Subscribe to the channel where we live stream every single day. Get all your tech news here. And we also got some videos that I'm going to upload as well. And we don't just do live streaming. We also upload pre-recorded content as well. So I have some case reviews and also some phone comparisons. I'm doing camera comparisons between all these devices I have here. So in the middle of editing that as well, that video. So be on the lookout. eSIM Studios, same time, same place tomorrow. Thank you. Take care.